one question. I'm a US citizen with residency in Portugal. I would like to know the procedure of which tax return I should file first. If I understand correctly, I should file my Portugal taxes first because it's my country of residence, and then file my US taxes. Is that correct? There are many Portuguese accountants that say you need to file your US returns first, which is correct. And Augusto, you and I had a spirited discussion on this earlier. Please, over to you.
I don't know if I have a correct answer because, well, in terms of timing, the statutory deadline, I would say, to file tax returns is more or less in the same time, I believe. So in Portugal, the tax return needs to be filed between April and June, usually. It's more or less the same timeline that in the US. Okay, the fact that would be important to confirm in each specific situation is if for any type of income there would be a tax credit. Because if, for instance, there is an income that is taxed in Portugal and you can claim a tax credit in the US for such taxes paid in Portugal, it would make sense to file the Portuguese tax return before the US tax return. And the other way around, it's also true. If, although according to our experience, it would be the situations that where we can claim tax credit in Portugal for tax paid abroad would be residual in comparison with the other way around. So I would say that it would make sense to file the Portuguese tax return first if we can claim any tax credit in the US. Darren, please correct me.
So Paul, you know, that is a very powerful question, and it's one that everyone asks. So you're definitely not alone. So essentially, as Augusto said, both, as you know, are due around the same time. Because you're outside of the US, you get that automatic 2-month extension to file your tax returns. Do note that from a US perspective, your payments are still due on April 15th. So even though you may get the automatic 2-month extension to file to mid-June, or even if you file a form 4868 and you get an extension to mid-October, payments are still due by April. Otherwise, you may be hit by interest and underpayment penalties, right? So I know it seems kind of weird. So technically, in a way, we should be doing it at the same time. But depending on your situation, and it really depends, everyone's situation is different. If it is most of your income is subject, as Augusto has just gone through in quite a bit of detail, if it is that you are subject to tax at source in Portugal first, then chances are we need to get the Portugal taxes so we can offset them with the foreign tax credits in Form 1116 against your US tax liability. So yes, the confusing answer, I know, is that you want to start both at the same time. But if it is most of your income is going to be taxed here because it's derived from Portugal, then we as the US tax team, or whoever it may be for you, would need to get the Portugal tax position first. And if it's the opposite, like most of your stuff is derived from the US and because of a treaty position or NHR or whatever, it's going to be taxed in the US first, then, you know, Portugal will need to see that first. So I know that is not the answer you're hoping for, but it is the answer. It really depends.
Yeah. Darren, just for completeness, because there is a practical issue here that, of course, when we file the Portuguese tax return, as I mentioned, we need to report the worldwide income, and to file the Portuguese tax return in an accurate manner, even considering an income that is exempt, we should present the income that was paid abroad for any reason. So there is also this discussion that to file accurately the Portuguese tax return, we should have the information of the taxes paid abroad. But well, this is sometimes difficult to manage.
Exactly. So it becomes in a way like a chicken and an egg, which comes first, right? So that's why we're saying both.
And in some cases, when we can claim tax credit in Portugal, we can also ask for the postponement of the filing. But the only reason to ask for that is when we actually have a tax credit in Portugal.
Right.
And to determine the amount of the tax credit, of course, we need to file previously the tax return in the other country.
Right. And similarly with the US, as you guys know, you can file for an extension. So that's why it's important that your US tax team and your Portugal tax team, they work in concert with each other. So, just as you can tell from just our brief exchange, there's a lot of interdependencies. And more importantly, then you have one team taking a higher view to make sure that you're not taxed twice on the same income, because that's one thing that nobody wants, double taxation, right?
Please subscribe, like, share, and comment below. Our books and upcoming events are available at htj.tax. Email us at help@htj.tax to engage us, to advise on international tax or business matters.